Hi, and welcome to the Crafting Sparrow Show and Tell. This is episode 25, and my name is Amanda. I come here every month and just talk to you guys about what I've been crafting. Some knitting and crocheting, I've done sewing, cross-stitch, basically anything fiber arts related. I've probably talked about it here. So, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I will say I am using my phone to record this, whereas usually I use a Canon camera, and I really am just trying to see how this turns out because there's certain things I didn't really like about using my Canon camera. So let me know how the lighting is. Let me know how the audio is. I know it's going to be a little bit different, but just bear with me. I'm also probably going to see me change my gaze to my actual phone screen instead of the camera thing. So just bear with me. Regardless, I'm here to talk and show you guys what I've made. Starting with what I'm wearing is my first finished objects, and you guys saw it last episode. This is the Baroque Nouveau. I'm not sure how to say the second word, but it's by Illsley or Unwind Knitwear. And I used this wonderful yarn from Juniper Farm, Herriot Fine. It's a 75% alpaca and 25% polyamide yarn. This is the colorway 2005, and the contrast color is 2001. And you're probably thinking, wow, she really had that memorized. Well, I recorded this like 3 times already. That's why I remembered that without looking at my notebook. Anyway, I really like this yarn, and I'm glad I have some left because I definitely want to make like a hat or something with it. It's so, I love alpaca yarn, and I love fingering weight yarn, so this is kind of like dream yarn for me. Yeah, so that's the yarn I used, and if you're curious, I used a gauge is a little small, but it's alpaca. Yes, so I used a 2.5 millimeter needle for the stockinette portion of the just like the main body of the sweater. But for the color work, I actually bumped it up to a 3.25 millimeter. And for the ribbing, I used a 2 millimeter. So that's all the needle sizes. And then I made the size large. And for the neckline, there's 2 different necklines you can make with this pattern. You can do a folded neckline or just like a 1-layered neckline, just a normal one. And really the only difference in construction is you knit twice the amount of ribbing for the collar if you're doing the folded one. So I did the folded neckline, and then I tried it on and to see if I wanted to actually fold it over or if I just liked the depth of that meant that much ribbing single layered. And as you can probably tell, I stuck with just single layered, but the twice as many rows of ribbing. Yeah, so that was my first modification. I actually didn't do that many modifications for the sweater. That was just kind of like a trick I did to get this neckline. And I wrote down that I worked 5 short rows total for the neck. I don't know if that's a modification. I wrote it down, which probably means it is a little bit different than what the pattern called for, because usually if I didn't do anything different, I just don't write much down. So yeah, I did 5 total short rows for the neckline shaping, and I did do some different things with the sleeve decreases, but if you've been around for a while, you probably are used to that. I feel like I always have to do some kind of modification with my sleeves. 9 times out of 10, it's because the decreasing rate would make the sleeve way too long. because I'm a really loose knitter. Even when I found that even when I do change my needles down sizes to get the right gauge, my sleeves always still kind of need a bit of adjusting. So there's that. I wrote down a bunch of what I did for the sleeves. If you're really interested in knowing how I got the sleeves to look like this, you can message me on my Instagram, which is linked down below. You can leave a comment in the video, or I even have also my email in the description box. You can ask me in any of those things. I will try my best to reword my scribbled notes in my notebook, but this is how my sleeves turned out. They're size large, and I think that they fit really, really good in my opinion. They're at like the perfect length where they're not like on my wrists unless I want them to be, in which case you do grab the sleeves and they do fine like that, and they're not pulling at my collar or anything. So yeah, if you want to know specifics for how I got the sleeves like this, I can definitely let you know in the comments or email or Instagram, whichever. I think that's all the modifications I made for this sweater. I will stand up and show you guys. I'll also probably put a picture maybe of like my finished object picture. My real armpit is here. So it does have a bit of a lot of positive ease on the underarm. And it reaches, my belly button's right here, right there. So I would say it's a good full length sweater. I really like this pattern, highly recommend, and I'm excited because I inspired Flaminia of Flimknit. I can't remember her Instagram tag. She's also here on YouTube. Highly recommend. She's super sweet, and we have become kind of like knitting pals recently, and she saw this on the last YouTube video I posted, and she's got her own one going on right now, which I'm really excited to see how that turns out. She's making it in like a green color and a cream color. It's adorable. Yeah, so highly recommend the pattern. I think I made a different, oh yeah, I did make a different pattern from Rachel Illsley. I think it was a cardigan. It was like an all over lace cardigan. I really like her patterns. Probably going to make more of her colorwork stuff in the future, so you should check out her patterns on Ravelry as well. Yes, I think that's it for this sweater, which is really my only big thing that I have to show you guys. Yeah. So, okay, I do have another big thing, actually, another big knitting thing. I cast on and finished, since last episode, this beautiful shawl. It's going to be hard to show you the whole thing because it is huge, but it is called the Hedgewitch by Wolf and Fawn Knits. It's on Ravelry. I don't have any extra yarn to show you, but it is also actually Juniper Moon Farm, but it is their Moonshine base, which is a single ply worsted weight or Aran weight yarn. And the white, the main color, is color 02, and then the dark brown color is 73. And this is a really fun texture knit. It has like this, it's hard to see with it because it's kind of see-through. Yeah, there you go. I don't even, it's such a clever way to do this texture. I don't remember what it was called, or if it's very specific to this pattern, if she came up with it. But you're actually creating these like loop things on the purl side. Yeah, it was really fun. Easy to memorize. It's one of those patterns where it's mindless, but it's not just stockinette, so it was really fun. And this yarn was actually, I bought it last year. when my husband and I went to our anniversary cabin trip in Gatlinburg. And I bought it to make my own cardigan design with mosaic knitting. And I knew that if I kept thinking that that's what I was going to make the yarn for, I was just never going to use the yarn because I knew I wasn't going to get around to making that cardigan. Just trying to be honest with myself. So I just looked up shawl patterns that would use roughly that amount of yarn. So yeah, ended up working out great. I actually ran out of the contrast color yarn and it was on the bind. I lost the yarn chicken. It was on the bind off and I really didn't have that much left to go. That was it. It's hard to see with the lighting there, but from there to there is all I had left on the bind off. And I looked through my stash and I was trying to find like some yarn that I could hold together to get a similar color, like chocolatey brown. But the thing about that color is it has like silvery, heathery tones to it as well. I really couldn't figure out any yarn combinations in my stash to replicate it. So what I did is I just grabbed the extra main color. And now that I'm looking at it, I probably could have picked some of the yarn. Even though it didn't match up perfectly, it would have been a lot less noticeable than this. But there was just something about using a different yarn entirely. It was just, nah, I'm just not going to do that. So I did. I used the white. It doesn't matter. You can't even really tell when I have it on. I have been just throwing this on over myself when I'm at my computer. It's really nice. It's very soft. I do not remember. I think this is a... Actually, yeah, this is the label. I have it right here. I think that's backwards for you guys. It is 40% alpaca, 40% wool, and 20% silk. So it is very nice. Very nice yarn. Would I have liked a cardigan in it? Probably. But I only really have... This would be my 4th shawl. And I know there are people out there with even less shawls than that who are knitters. But I just didn't feel like that was that many shawls in my like knitted wardrobe. And I like them. They're basically just big scarves. And a while back, I went through my closet and donated like all of my store-bought scarves. So I thought it was a nice little compromise. And I got my yarn used. I actually used the special yarn, which always feels good, instead of just sitting there and seeing it and wanting to knit with it, but deciding you didn't know what to make with it. I'm sitting here admiring it, but you guys can't see it. Here, I'll try to hold it up. I was gonna measure out the actual like finished dimensions of this because it is huge, but I couldn't be bothered, I guess, because I never got around to it. I need to take a finished object picture of it for my Instagram. That's not how I wear a shawl. But honestly, the best way to wear this, I feel like, is having the V down like this. Oh, I did not do that right. This honestly might be too big to do it like this. There's so much fabric. Yeah, it's very, very cozy, very soft. I like it a lot. So anyway, that is my Hedgewitch shawl. Oh, I actually did make some modifications, and what was really cool about how the pattern was written, it had information about if you're a loose knitter or a tight knitter. So it said in the pattern that if you are a loose knitter, that you might need to do less increases, like less repeats, or else you might run out of yarn if you do what the pattern says. So basically what it went ahead and said was you can cut out, I think it said 2 or 3 repeats of the first big part with the main color, and it will still turn out the same size, but you'll use less yardage. So it was actually really, really helpful for me. Instead of playing yarn chicken, even though I kind of already did, it just went ahead and told me, hey, you might run out of yarn if you're a loose knitter if you do all the repeats. So do this many instead, and it'll still turn out the right size. The lighting looks a lot better now that the cloud went over. It needs to stay like this. Also, what a little cutie. Okay, anyway, I just really appreciated that as somebody who is 9 times out of 10 way looser of a knitter than the designer. It was just really nice. Really appreciated that. So anyway, that's my Hedgewitch shawl. Hedgewitch shawl. And I believe that's all my finished objects for knitting. Yes, so I do have a crochet, and I literally just finished this last night, and it is for my husband's aunt. She is doing like a gift exchange thing, and she wanted me to craft the person that she is gifting to keeps bees, so she wanted me to make a little bee for them. And oh my god, oh my gosh, look at this bee. Are you kidding me? This is the cutest thing I have ever made. I'm telling you, I love this little chubby bee so much. And that's what the pattern's called, by the way. It's called Chubby Bumblebee, Amigurumi. Yeah, you know what I mean. By StringyDingDing. And guess what? This is heckin' free. The pattern is free. Are you kidding me? Sorry, but this bee makes me really happy. And I was kind of gushing over it last night to my husband as well. And he was like, you should just make yourself one. And yeah, I might, but also I have this weird thing where I don't really like making patterns more than once. But I'm happy to just admire this cute little big brown butt and adorable little fuzzy neck for the time being, and be happy that he's going somewhere who will appreciate him. I used a 5mm hook. The sun's coming back. I'm sorry. 5mm hook for this guy. It's my clover hook. And it was all with yarn in my stash already. I think actually it's all Hobby Lobby yarn, and it's all acrylic. The black and the gold is it's the yarn, if you've been around for a while, it's the yarn I used for the Bruin scarf. Soft stitch, maybe? I think that's what it's called. Worsted weight yarn. And then the white is their... It's, yeah, it's leaving me. I bought this white yarn like 2 or 3 years ago, so... I can't remember what it's called. Some kind of acrylic yarn, worsted weight. So, anyway... Super fun to make. And also, okay, so let's talk about this moment happening here with this fuzzy little neck. In the pattern, it talks you through doing a loop stitch, which is basically just like pulling up a lot of yarn and grabbing, so like this was the yarn going around. And usually you would just grab it and pull it, but instead you like grab it from here and it leaves like a loop of yarn. If that makes any sense. I tried it and my fabric was way too loose. It was not pretty and it wasn't fun. So I just ignored the loop stitches and just worked like the amount of increases and stuff. And when I was done making the body, I went back and cut 4-inch strips of this black yarn. And in every stitch on the neck, I would put my crochet hook loop through the stitch. I would take that 4-inch yarn and fold it in half, grab the loop that I just made, pull it through, and then take the ends and tuck it and loop it into the loop. I don't know if that makes any sense, But basically I just attached, it's kind of like making a fringe. If you know how to make fringes, that's exactly what I did. And then I just took one of my cat's flea brushes and just like fluffed it out. And so it was like a little bit different looking and it's a little bit curlier. And then I like just trimmed it to be a little bit shorter and more even all the way around. So that's how I did that. If you're good at the loop stitch, it looks really good. I was not a fan of how I executed it, so I did that instead. And I really appreciate Amigurumi designs that tell you how to make the face shaping. I don't know if you can tell, but like the eyes are sunken in a little bit. That is because it shows you how to like thread into the bottom here, and then you bring it up around one of the eyes, back through, and then you do the same for the other side, and then you just like pull on the yarn. It's a free pattern, so if you want to go check that out, I highly recommend. This is a heckin' cute little bee. It has so much detail to it. Like if you search bee in Ravelry, most of the amigurumis you see will just be a striped red or yellow and black like circle or like oval shape, which is cute. That like it has its place, but this is a whole lot more realistic and adorable, and I just love it. Okay, I'm done. I'm done gushing over this little bee. Look at his little feet. Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm done now. All right, the rest of my finished objects are sewing. And so I have 2 corsets. I think that last time I showed you I was working on this puppy here. She is done. She is finished. She exists in this world and she's not perfect, but I love her. Yeah, I learned how to do binding, but it was not on this creation. Look at that mess. It wasn't until like literally the last part of the binding that I figured out how to read the pattern on binding. I didn't realize that you had to match up the binding raw edges, sew it, and then fold it over to the other side. I was just putting... I was just sewing down the raw edges this way instead of raw edges up, and then I just folded it over from there, so I have like this really rough edge on that side. Yeah, so anyway, it's not perfect, but this was the practice one for my actual corset that I wanted to make with this fabric. So this is like a tapestry fabric, and I did put a what do you call it? The binding that the interfacing that you iron on. Interfacing? I don't know what it's called. To make it more stiff, and I literally don't think it did anything. And the other one I used cotton batting as the interfacing, I guess you would call it. That did a better job at making it more stiff than this. But the good thing is this tapestry fabric was already pretty stiff, so it did fine. And also, by the way, this was for a Renaissance. I went to the Carolina Renaissance Fair last weekend with my husband and a couple that we're friends with. So that's what this was for. And I'll insert pictures and stuff of our outfits. It was super fun. I'll talk more about it towards the end of the episode, but yes, this was the one I wore to the Ren Fair, and it turned out amazing, and I actually learned how to do the binding properly. Also, the last one I hand stitched the front binding. I didn't have time to do that with this one because I literally finished this like 3 days before the Ren Fair. So I actually went in and with the sewing machine stitched this down, which is, I'm really proud of myself for doing that because there are curves, okay? There are some serious curves here, and I just took my time with my sewing machine and it turned out better than I expected it would. I also mentioned last episode that other corset that I used zip tie on the inside of like just this part of the corset. And I didn't do that with this one. I kind of wish I would have, but I honestly don't think that it would have worked out as well. So anyway, that was something different. And also, I am not a fan of punching holes and inserting grommets. This crap sucked. It hurt my hand. Some of them turned out really ugly. You can't really tell from distance, but that grommet got squished. And I don't know, it's just all over a terrible experience, and I don't ever want to do it again. So if I do make more corsets, I think what I'm going to do is embroider the holes. I don't know. I've seen somebody do it before. I think I can do it. Probably not going to make a corset for a really long time. But the inside of this looks a lot better. Because the binding's actually the way it needs to be. Okay. So that's my corsets. Oh, and the pattern I used is this one right here. B4669 Butterick. And I made the size 16. And I think I mentioned before my bust is a 38 inch. I think is what I usually am. So, yeah, size 16 from this pattern. Okay. Oh, and also I made my husband's other cloak. And I actually ended up wearing his cloak, and he wore my cloak. Because my outfit was more like brown centered, and the fabric he picked out was a lot more like brown colorish. And then his outfit was more like black tones, and my cloak that I made for me was more black tones. So it actually worked out great. We switched. And I will, like I said, insert photos of our outfits, and you can see both the cloaks that I made there. They're the same exact. They're both from the... Oh, I'm leaning on this table and it's probably shaking the camera. My bad. AnnieChie Designs is the YouTuber that I used. Same as always, everything I mention will be linked in the description box. That YouTube video will be linked down there as well. Really fun pattern. I want to make more cloaks, but I don't need any more clothes, so... if any of my family or friends want a cloak, hit me up, because I will gladly make another one. Yeah. So those are the cloaks. I think that's all my finished objects. And I only have one work in progress to show you. And I'm gonna rip it out. If you follow me on my Instagram, you've seen this. I've been posting it on my stories. It is the Twist Loop sweater by Other Loops, I believe is the designer. Yes. And here it is. I literally am almost done with it. Still gonna rip it out. Let's see. Yeah. It looks cute, right? I think it looks cute too. But there's something about it that I just don't like. Like the fit of it, I don't like the fit. I'm going to step over out of view and put this sweater on instead of this one, so you can maybe relate to what I'm saying. I don't know. One second. Okay. I understand that it is ribbing. First of all, I'll go ahead and say that. I know that when I block it, it will be a little bit better. But I'm not a fan of the way it fits. It is clinging way too much to my skin. And I'm at gauge. I did a gauge swatch. I've got one right here. And I'm always between a medium and a large. I picked a large. And I'm just, I don't like it. And the yoke, it's not a very size inclusive pattern either. I'll say that. And I know I'm not on the larger size of the scale, but the yoke just, the larger the size, the deeper the yoke fits, and I don't know. I don't like it. It clings way too hard on the body, and I know, again, when I block it, it'll be better, but I don't think it'll be that much better. It's just not very flattering to me. I really just wanted an oversized sweater. This yarn is lovely. I love this yarn, and I will talk about it in a second. But I think I'm going to rip this back and make something else. Yeah. I don't even know why I'm saying I think I'm going to rip it back. I literally already have a pattern in mind. I think I'm going to make the Seaway pullover by Ozetta. Because what I wanted with this yarn was a cable sweater. And this is literally the only cabling that is in this sweater. Which is fine, because when I saw it on the picture in Ravelry, it's super cute. And it is super cute on the picture, but I almost wonder if this yarn just wasn't right for it. Or maybe, I don't know. I don't know what it is. And I shouldn't have to think that hard about it. I should just listen to my gut and just, if you don't like it, you don't like it. I knew I didn't like it when I was working on the body, and I should have just stopped there. But I thought maybe with blocking, it'll be fine. Then I made the sleeve, and it just kind of finished my feelings for it. It's like, yeah, it's not doing it for me. Not liking it. So yeah, this will be ripped out, and one of the reasons why I actually started recording today is because I want to rip it out so bad, but I wanted to show you guys the sweater before I ripped it out, because I did spend a lot of time on this. I didn't want to like come back and have just the yoke done on a sweater and be like, oh, but I had more done before this, I promise. I wanted to show you guys what I had made and kind of show you guys why I ripped it out. It's just, I think that this is really cute. Maybe with a different yarn. Maybe with different yarn I'll try it again. I don't know. It's a fun sweater, but me. Also, hold on, let me put my other sweater on because this is actually really hot. This is much more warmer than the other sweater I was wearing. And I know why it's more warm too, is it clings to the skin. This is a whole lot more loose, way more bearable. What was I saying about? Oh god, it got dark. Ooh. Really dark. What was I saying about? What was the sweater? I got so lost when I went to change out of it. What about this? Oh! The pattern had so many typos. Like, so many typos. To the point where if I wasn't already, like, inept at if I wasn't already skilled in things like raglan increases and like decreasing and tubular bind off, like basic sweater construction, I would have been really confused. Things like they use the wrong abbreviations. They use like M instead of ST for stitch, or they said hold yarn in front instead of what should have been hold yarn in back. Pretty important stuff for somebody who isn't familiar with knitting a sweater and terminology. So anyway, there's that too. I don't know. There's not very many patterns that I don't recommend. I would say that this is the closest thing I get to don't recommend a sweater, pattern. So maybe it's harsh, but it's my honest opinion. So anyway, next time you see me, this glorious yarn, which I'm going to talk to you in a second, I promise. I just want to separate the yarn from the pattern in this scenario, because I love the yarn. Anyway, I just really want this yarn to be used for something I'm going to appreciate, and I'm just not going to appreciate this. I can already tell. I literally did a whole other project because I didn't feel like knitting on this anymore. Because every time that I picked it up, I was just like, I don't really think I'm going to want to wear this anyway. So that's a pretty sure sign that I should just stop knitting and unwind it. Okay. That's all I was knitting on for Works in Progress. So, I do have, it's kind of more future plans. I don't have acquisitions. Oh my god, I almost forgot. The yarn. I literally told you like 3 times that I was going to talk to you about it. This is the yarn. So, wonderful Kelsey from Knitting Niqabi is, or has changed up her yarn shop a ton. And you should go check it out for sure. Before she did that though, she was having a huge sale for stuff that she just had left in her shop. And I took a little browse on her website, and this beautiful corduroy color, she had 5 skeins left, which is sweaters quantity for me. It is a 70% non-superwash merino, 20% alpaca, and 10% mulberry silk, which is just such a lush base. And I love the color. It was honestly just kind of perfect. And it was like 60% off, which is crazy. And I went, so funny little story about it. I went to check out and get the yarn. And when I hit purchase or place order, I got like a little red text at the top that said that, they no longer had that base, or there wasn't enough of that base for what I ordered. And I was like, oh man, somebody came behind me and swooped up this yarn before I was able to hit place order. I was like, oh well, it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. And I just moved on from purchasing this yarn. And then like, I think it was like a couple of days or a week later, Kelsey messaged me on Instagram, was like, oh, hey, just wanted to let you know, one of the 5 skeins you ordered is like a little baby dwarf skein. It's the same number of meterage and stuff. It's just that the place that I get it, the base from, had, it was just, they wound it up differently or something. I was like, wait, with the yarn, the purchase went through? I was so happy. I was like, I actually got it. Yeah, so anyway, long story short, I got Kelsey's yarn, and I'm really happy that I did. And so when I swatched it for the twisted loop sweater, it was too thin for that pattern if I wanted to keep the drape and stuff right. So I mean, the pattern does call for like holding together with a merino and 2 fingering weights or something like that. So, I mean, it made sense that I needed to hold it together with something else. But I didn't want to do mohair. I live in the South. Mohair's not very practical. But I really like alpaca. Surrey alpaca is pretty expensive, and I didn't want to invest in any of that. So I went on Knitpicks and saw what they had for just like a lace weight yarn. And I got their Alpaca Cloud, the colorway Jane, and it is 100% baby alpaca. And if you haven't picked up on the trend yet, I love alpaca. So this is wonderful yarn. Really like it. And it kind of also has a little halo to it. A little bit. It's not like mohair halo or Surrey alpaca, but still a halo. So held together, I did another little swatch, and it turned out like that. And it's like a very, what is it called? Marled? Is it marled look to it? Yeah, that's the term. And at first, honestly, I didn't really like it that much together, but it definitely grew on me. And also, I put a poll on my Instagram, and you guys really liked it, so I trusted in the masses, and yeah, you guys are right. It's pretty cute. It's pretty heckin' cute. Hopefully, it will be cute on the Seaway pullover. If I meet gauge. I haven't done a gauge swatch for the Seaway pullover with that yarn yet. what I'll probably do is unwind this swatch and reuse it. Yeah, so I think that's everything. Future plans. I don't have acquisitions, so none of that. And I also don't have any noteworthy accounts. I haven't really been on the crafting sphere of media, so no noteworthy accounts. I do have some, but they're not crafting related. They're nerdy. I've been watching Dimension 20 and a lot of Hermitcraft, if you like Minecraft stuff. A lot of Hermitcraft things. So I could recommend those, but nobody would be interested, so I won't. But future plans, Lucy was laying on it, but a while back I made this sweater. It's completely finished, but I hated it. It's the Great Gingham sweater by Jessie Made Designs, I think. Yeah, I don't like the weight. I don't like it. It's one of those things I just didn't like it. But for this, I didn't figure out that I hated it until I was actually done with it. But I really want to repurpose this yarn. I think it's a recycled. It has hemp in it, and it's wool and hemp, I think. But I think what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna rip it out, frog it out, and swatch for the Alder sweater by Creabea or Rebecca Clow. Because I think this would be really cute as the Alder sweater. And I think I even have leftover like big balls of leftovers for this yarn too. So that is another future plan. Yeah, Seaway sweater, Alder sweater, and also I still have my Merriment sweater on my to-do list with my Knitpicks palette sampler. So lots of sweaters in my future, and probably a hat, a Musselburgh hat with this. And I think that's it. I don't have any more sewing planned. I may make myself a little bumblebee because he's cute. Do I need it? No, but I have the yarn anyway and the pattern's free, so why not? Yes, I think that's it. So anyway, let me know again if this setup works with you guys. Hopefully I'll be able to figure out how to transfer a huge video file from my phone, which is an Android, onto my PC so I can edit it. If I can't, I might, and it works out, I might just straight upload. No, I have to do editing stuff to show you guys like names of sweaters in the, you know how I put the description of what I'm talking about on the bottom of the screen. I'll figure out how to edit it. I hope. If you're watching this, I did, so. Oh, I was going to talk to you about the Ren Fair and what I've been doing. So yeah, Tyler and I went to, so I guess this is like what I've been up to. Get some tea or coffee or water and a snack. If you're interested. If you're not, thank you for watching, and I will see you in November's episode. But if you're interested in hearing about my experience with the Renaissance Fair, the Carolina Renaissance Fair, and some D&D nerdy stuff, you can stick around and listen. I'm going to take a big gulp of water because I am going to talk for a long time, probably. Unscripted, because I hate myself. Oh, I have to get I bought something at Ren Fair and I wanted to show you guys. I'll run in and get it in a second. But, so yeah, my husband and I went to the Carolina Renaissance Fair, which is in Huntersville, North Carolina. And it was their 30th anniversary of holding this Renaissance Fair, which is awesome. And my husband and I have never been to a Ren Fair before, but we're both super nerdy and love high fantasy. So it was only a matter of time. And Ashley will be joining us for this conversation, I guess. And our friends, the couple that went with us, they were just like, hey, do you guys just want to go to the Carolina Ren Fair? And we're like, yeah, why not? So we had like a couple months to plan outfits and stuff, which was really fun. But actually going to the Ren Fair was a blast. I loved every moment of it. From just people watching and seeing all the outfits that people have come up with. Some of them were so elaborate and beautiful, and then like that juxtaposition of just like a beautiful gown with the most perfect corset and like this beautiful flower crown. And then we literally saw somebody that had like cardboard box armor on. It's just so funny and goofy, and I just love it. Yeah, so the outfits were amazing. Little kids were wearing like taco costumes. Maybe they just thought it was like a Halloween thing. I don't know. It was amazing. The shops they had some really cool things. I'll go ahead and get what my husband bought me real quick. Okay, so I decided that the one thing that I wanted to get while I was there was a gemstone necklace, and there were a lot of shops there that were selling that. But I found one that had vial necklaces, so this comes open. It's like a little vial. And also this is jade, a jade jewel. Gemstone, I guess you would call it. It's so pretty. I like it a lot. So yeah, we got that. And then my husband got this beautiful journal, just like a blank journal with a leather exterior that has like a tree detail to it. Beautiful as well. And then I saw a tea stand, and I got some, it's called Dragon Chai tea. The shop was Mountain Song Herbals, so you can go check them out. This is really good, and they also had these little honey vials. But real quick, this is basil, ginger, rosemary, cinnamon, Darjeeling black tea, cardamom, nutmeg, clove, and vanilla bean, and love. It has love in it as well, which is adorable. Really, really good if you like spice teas. And then they also had ginger spice honey. This is the best honey I've ever tasted. This is amazing. I'm never somebody who just likes the taste of honey. I like adding it into my tea, but I've never just liked the taste of raw honey. But this is good. Organic ginger, organic cinnamon, and pure raw unfiltered wildflower honey. So it's been really good too. The shops were great. There were people like that are part of the fair that come by and just like talk to you. Like, I don't know, there's one guy that just walked up to my husband and was like, "Sir, would you like for me to insult somebody for you?" It's just great. One person tried to get my husband to learn a spell because he had his staff that he made from eucalyptus branch, and the guy also had a staff, so he's like, "I can teach you how to do a spell with your staff," and he tried to get him to say something like inappropriate. It was really funny. And oh, I did get something else towards the end. There were like flower peddlers there as well. And there was this really sweet lady that was trying to get my husband to buy me a flower, and she had like a bunch of different kinds, and they were all roses except for one, and I was like, which rose would I pick, or which flower would I pick, Tyler? And he picked the right one. He knows I don't like roses, so it was pretty easy actually. But it was just really pretty. I actually don't know what kind it was. It's like a yellow flower, and I'm pressing it right now. And I'm gonna, hopefully if it presses right, I'm going to put it in a shadow box for like a memory of the Renaissance Fair. But yeah, it was really cool to have, like, the people that worked at the fair were really funny and entertaining. Wonderful musicians. They had jousting there, which we didn't get to actually, like, sit on the stands and watch the jousting, but we stood back and, like, watched a couple rounds. And there was, like, comedy shows and so much stuff. It opens at 9:30 and closes at 5, and we didn't actually get into the place till like 12. I feel like to get the full experience, you have to get there at 9:30 because there's just so much to do. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. If you haven't been to Ren Fair yet, highly recommend. Yeah. So then we stayed the night at a hotel over there in North Carolina, and Crowder Mountain is right by there. And Tyler and I like to hike, so that next morning, Sunday morning, we went to Crowder Mountain and hiked up that peak. And I will post like a little video of us at the top of Crowder Mountain. And what I wanted to put in this vial was some creek water from the hike, but there was not a creek on that hike. So instead, what I put in here is a pine needle from Virginia pine on the trail, which there was like Virginia pines like all over the peak of that mountain. So there's a little pine needle in this vial. Yeah, we hiked up Crowder Mountain and then we went back home. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about our little trip to the Ren Fair. We loved it, and we're definitely going to be looking for other Ren Fairs to go to in the future. You know, we know that not all of them are going to be as big as the Carolina Ren Fair, but any of them I think would be fun to just like improve on our costumes and just nerd out some more. So, so yeah. Speaking of nerding out, one of the reasons why I don't have that much knitting is because, because that sweater just bummed me out a little bit. But also, my husband and I are starting our first Dungeons & Dragon campaign, and we are co-DMing it. So we have been, well, mostly me, because I'm the one that's dealing with a lot of like the lore stuff. We have been just using a lot of our creative energy and time to come up with like lore backstory and like mechanics, and we have our own potion mechanic. We have 6 players, so I've been trying to like piece them together into this world that we've created because it's the very, very homebrewed game. It's using D&D 5e rules, but the pantheons are all different. You know, there's different things with the Fae realm and all that stuff. So, yeah. So that has dipped into my crafting time. It's a different creative outlet than fiber arts, but still one that I enjoy very, very much. So yeah, that's been taking up a lot of my time. And also we've been playing Baldur's Gate a lot still. So when I'm not thinking about actual D&D, I am playing a video game version of it. But yeah, that's what's been going on. Oh, I have a new job too. I guess that's something that's going on with my life. So in May, my husband and I moved back up. We are in Clemson area. We both went to Clemson University, and he got a job with Clemson University back in May. So we moved back up here, and last month I got a part-time job working with a plant nursery farm, I guess you could call it. And I go to the clients that pay for their service in my area and just take care of their indoor plants. It's just a part-time job, but it's actually pretty fun. And as you can probably tell, I am a plant person. So it's basically just being paid to take care of more plant babies. Yeah, so I guess that's also been taking not a lot of time, because it's, like I said, only part-time, but some of my time has been spent actually working again. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to. Yeah. If you're still here, Wow, you made it that far, my rambling. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you found something in this episode inspiring or helpful or enjoyable. Yeah, so just let me know what you've been working on, or if you have any opinions about the twisted loop sweater. If you've made it or have thought about making it, and you have thoughts about it as well, or if it's just me being weird, I don't know. Yeah, or just let me know what you were doing while you were watching this. Were you, like I've said, but I think I said it last episode, does anybody else just like eat lunch while they watch these videos too? What were you eating? I want to know what yummy lunch foods you had, or dinner or breakfast or whatever. Yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up here. We'll see if I can figure out this editing from my phone. I appreciate you being around. I hope that you find joy in life and your crafts. I hope that you have a good Halloween. I hope that fall and or spring is bringing you the joy that you have been wanting in the seasons. And I just wish the best, I guess. I appreciate you guys, and I will catch you in November's show and tell episode. Take care. Bye.